How should we get ethical clearance for a transdisciplinary project? If we understand a transdisciplinary project as it stands, it's about joint problem framing and mutual learning. So first of all, you have to identify relevant stakeholders. You have to gain their trust. You have to work together as a team. You have to identify the problem that is at play. And then, well, you have to continuously work together. So you're working a little bit, it's like an abductive research process. It's a back and fro. But what's the relevant point when it comes to research ethics? Of course, there are certain moral considerations of what you should never do or what you always have to do. So when you do interviews, always have to ask for informed consent. You always have to inform the people that you engage with about what your plans are, what your goals are, and how you're going to reach them. You cannot manipulate people in research. That's not what research is all about. And quite the opposite. We have to be transparent. We have to give people the option to opt out. So all these things are very important. But the main problem then is if we frame problems together, then we don't know which method we are going to apply. And the ethical clearance, if you go through a usual ethical board, which all universities have, would be building upon the method that you apply. It makes a difference whether you make an ethnographic observation versus whether you actively engage and interact with people, whether you have an experimental design, say in a psychological setup. So these are different methodological approaches, and they make like a huge difference when it comes to ethical clearance. But at the beginning of any given transdisciplinary project, you don't know that. You don't know what you're going to do. So we are currently in a conundrum. That is a challenge. And what you then need to do is you need to make this bottom-up approach, and you need to know, okay, what are the minimum ethical considerations that I have to apply if I use a certain method? So that's the first thing, and that should always be the standard in research. But you also have to consider what could be potential ramifications. How could this have an impact? Because you can't get a pre-ethical guidance. And that's something that is a challenge right now. We haven't solved this one yet. That is one of the big problems that we have in transdisciplinary research. It's incompatible with most of the standards that we have, say, in ethical trials or in psychological experiments. And that's a huge challenge. We have to be aware of it. We have to tackle it head on, and we have to find these somewhat normative combinations in terms of methods when it comes to ethical considerations, when we might bump into problems. And these we have to pre-check and pre-clear. Otherwise, it won't work. We have to gain more experience about transdisciplinarity. Otherwise, the ethical considerations might come back to haunt us.